Hi guys, how you doing? Will here back for another fight card. We're going to be doing UFC 166 here from Houston, Texas, but tonight it's a UFC Fight Night 29 from Brazil, where Damian Maia and Jake Shields are the main event. If you haven't seen my picks, go check that out. It's on my YouTube channel, so check that out. But see, this is UFC 166 here, where it's headlined by just one of the best fights there is in the UFC, in my opinion, in Cain Velasquez defending his UFC heavyweight title against the former champion Junior Dos Santos, the two best heavyweights by a mile, I think, in the UFC. And they're back down in Houston. Again, Texas, you always get good crowds. If you UFC 136 there, and this is a very, very solid card here from Texas, and I'm looking forward to putting my predictions out there and seeing what your predictions are as well. If you like Cain Velasquez, if you think Cain Velasquez is going to win this fight, like the video. If you think Junior Dos Santos is going to win, the thumbs down, go for him. And we'll see what my viewers think of who the fight's going to go to in this. So we're going to start off in the bantamweight division. We've got Dustin Pague against Kyoji Horiguchi. Horiguchi is the Shuto 132 champion over there. So he's basically the bantamweight champion of Shuto, against Dustin Pague, who was in the Ultimate Fighter a few years back. And I've just looked at his record there, and he's lost his last 3 fights. Very surprising you see a fighter in the UFC with 3 losses in a row and still be with the company. So this is a big fight for the kid there. But Horiguchi is a very, very solid fighter, and I just like him in this fight. He can be a champion of another promotion. So I'm going to go Horiguchi by unanimous decision. But I think this could be a really good fight, a really close fight to start the card off. Next up, we've got Jeremy Larsen against Andre Fili. This was, I think, a few different fights. I think it was Mark Grice against Esteban Payan, and then Mark Grice was in that horrible car accident. Hopefully he gets better. Then Charles Oliveira stepped in, and Payan got injured, and then Charles Oliveira got injured, and then Jeremy Larsen came in, and then it's just kind of went from there. But Andre Fili's come in now. If you don't know about Andre Fili, get to know him. This kid's going to make, I think, a bit of noise in the featherweight division. Larsen's coming off 2 knockout losses. I think Lucas Martins is one of them. I can't remember who the other one was off the top of my head. But Andre Fili, he comes out of Team Alpha Male. Now, you know the fighters that come out of that camp: Chad Mendes, Uriah Faber. They've got fighters, TJ Dillashaw, who's fighting in Brazil tonight. Very solid fighters. And with Dwayne Ludwig in that team, they're going to be extra strong now. Andre Fili is 12-1. He's got 6 knockouts and 3 decisions and 3 submissions. Very, very strong fighter. As I say, Larsen, he's about 8-4 record, coming off the Ultimate Fighter a few years back. He probably needs to win this fight to keep his job in the UFC. But I think Andre Fili is going to knock out Jeremy Larsen in this fight again. And I think he'll do it early. I think it could be a first round knockout for Andre Fili. So I'm going to go Andre Fili. First round TKO. Then we move into lightweights. We've got the return of a former Ultimate Fighter winner in Tony Ferguson, who's coming off a loss, his first loss in the UFC to Michael Johnson, and he's against Mike Rio here, who's another former fighter in the Ultimate Fighter. So Tony Ferguson, he's quite wild. He kind of likes to throw his hands out there, whereas Mike Rio is more of a wrestler. Mike Rio is coming off losses. I think he fought in Brazil too against Francisco Trinaldo, got submitted in the first round. Wins over John Kofa was the only other win in the UFC, so nothing really to brag about for Mike Rio, and he's against a former winner of the Ultimate Fighter in Tony Ferguson here, who he started off quite well in the UFC, and he's went quiet. He hasn't fought in about a year and a half nearly. So he's been out, not fighting that much, but wins over Eve Edwards, Aaron Riley, before beating Ramsey Najem in the final of the Ultimate Fighter. I like Tony Ferguson in this fight. I think he will knock out Mike Rio, and he'll do it in the second round. Welterweight action, we've got TJ Waldburger against Adlan Amagov. Now, Adlan Amagov is a fighter out of Jackson's MMA, and he's a very, very strong sambo wrestler. He's a national master of sambo, so he's very, very good. So he's coming off a win over Chris Spang in Sweden earlier on this year in April. He used to fight in Strikeforce, where he lost. His only real losses to Rory Robbie Lawler, sorry, I'm thinking of Ronnie McDonald here. A bit early for that one, where he got a flying knee, he got knocked out in that fight. But I like Amagov in this fight. I think he could do a bit of damage to TJ Waldburger. Now, Waldburger he's quite a young fighter himself. I think he's been around for quite a bit. 25 years old. He hasn't fought in the UFC since December last year, where he beat Nick Catone. Before losing to Brian Ebersole, the fight there, he beat Jake Tech, Mike Stumpf in this fight. But I like Amagov, and I think he can maybe submit Waldburger with his grappling, perhaps. But I think he might get an easy decision as well. So I'm going to go Adlan Amagov by unanimous decision. On to the preliminary card, we've got George Sotiropoulos against KJ Noon. George Sotiropoulos, I think he's kind of on the downward spiral now. He got knocked out by Ross Pearson in the main event of the kind of tough smashes last year in December, where KJ Noons is coming off a loss to Donald Cerrone. This is a kind of grappler versus a boxer. Noons being the boxer, Sotiropoulos being the jiu-jitsu. He's very, very good with his jiu-jitsu and his grappling. But it starts on the feet, and I think KJ Noons is going to catch George Sotiropoulos. I don't think he's got the best of chins. He hasn't got the best of legs if Noons wants to kick his legs out from underneath him. So I like KJ Noons by a knockout in this fight, and I think he can do it in the first or second round. Maybe second round, because Sotiropoulos is a veteran, and he's been around, he's been in there with some big hitters, so I'm going to go KJ Noons by knockout. Then the women are in this UFC 166 as well. It got moved to this card. We've got Sarah Kaufman against Jessica Ai. Now, Sarah Kaufman's a former Strikeforce champ. She this is going to be her first fight in the UFC. She's a very, very nice lady, and she's a very, very strong, hard fighter as well. Last win was against Leslie Smith and Victor, but before that she fought Ronda Rousey for the title, got caught in the armbar. She beat Alexis Davis, Liz Carmouche, Yabashita, lost to Conan for the title, beat Modafferi. So she's been around for a long, long time as Sarah Kaufman, and she's against kind of a girl who's quite young in the sport, coming over from Bellator. Her biggest win was over Zoila Gabriel, who she submitted over there by a technical submission, and she beat Karina Dam last time out when she fought in June this year. Sarah Kaufman, I think, is going to have too much for Jessica Ai in this fight. I think she can maybe get a late stoppage, so I'll maybe go Sarah Kaufman TKO third round. Next up, in the welterweight division, we've got Nate the Great Marquardt against Hector Lombard. Now, Hector Lombard, this is his first fight. He hasn't impressed anybody being in the UFC. He's probably big. He's got a good win over Husamar Palhares, but he hasn't impressed anybody since coming over from Bellator. But I think this could be a really good fight with Nate Marquardt. These guys like to stand and throw leather, and I think somebody's going to get knocked out in this fight. Nate Marquardt got knocked out by Jake Ellenberger last time out. He was the former Strikeforce welterweight champ. This is a tough fight to call. I was thinking Lombard for a lot of it. Very, very heavy-handed striker, as is Marquardt, but I think this may go to decision. I think Marquardt might just get the decision in this fight. So I'm going to go Nate Marquardt by unanimous decision, maybe even a split in that fight as well. Then kind of the main event of the Fox Sports 1 card, we've got Tim Boetsch against C.B Dolloway. Dolloway coming off a big win. He went down to Brazil and beat Daniel Sarafian, where Tim Boetsch, I think, is coming off a loss to is it Costa Filippo? I could be wrong. Mark Munoz, maybe? Mark Munoz, that was the one. He's coming off two losses, in fact, to Filippo and Mark Munoz. So he's got to get back on the win column here. And I reckon he will do this. I think he's probably a stronger wrestler than Dolloway, physically stronger. Once he gets into the ground, he'll hurt him down there, but I think he can knock him out as well if he catches him with the right shot. So I'm going to go Tim Boetsch by TKO in the second. On to the main card now of this. Now, I'm very excited for this main card because there's one guy that's just jumping out, in Diego Sanchez, which we'll go into in a little bit. But we've got John Dodson against Darrell Montague on the flyweight in the flyweight division. So John Dodson coming off his championship fight with Demetrius Johnson last time out. He hurt Demetrius Johnson a few times. The kid has power. He's very, very athletic. You don't know what's going to come from John Dodson. He's extremely quick. I think only Demetrius Johnson's probably the only other quickest one in maybe the UFC. Montague, he fought a lot outside the UFC. Tashi Palace, very, very, very strong fighter. Lost to Ian McCall. If you've been watching like the flyweights in Tashi Palace for the last few years, you know who this guy is. He's a very, very tough fighter. But John Dodson, I think, is a beast. Behind Joseph Benavidez and Demetrius Johnson, he's the guy who can maybe take the strap off Demetrius Johnson. So I'm going to go John Dodson by a knockout, second round. Into the heavyweight division, Gabriel Napao Gonzaga against Shawn Jordan. Shawn Jordan finishes fights, and he did that last time out against Pat Barry. I'm a big Pat Barry fan. Wanted Barry to win, but Shawn Jordan caught him and just took him out. Gonzaga, I don't think he's got the best chin, but he is great when he goes to the ground. I just think this is a great fight for Shawn Jordan. I think he's very, very quick on his feet. He's going to just mesmerise Gonzaga with his speed on his feet. He's not going to see it coming, and he's going to catch a shot and he's going to go to sleep. So this is another knockout victory here for Shawn Jordan, and that's going to be his 4th in 5 UFC fights, with his only loss coming to Czech Congo. Now this is the fight I'm most looking forward to now. I know we've got Velasquez and Dos Santos 3, and we've got Cormier and Nelson, but this could have fight of the year written all over it. It's Gilbert, El Nino, Melendez against Dago, the Nightmare, the Dream / Sanchez. Now, anybody that knows me knows that Dago Sanchez is by far my favourite fighter ever in the UFC. I've been watching the UFC for a long time. I just love Dago Sanchez. Never got a chance to meet the man. I flew over to a few of his events. I went and seen him when he faced the great BJ Penn for the title. He doesn't get stopped, but the great BJ Penn stopped him. He doesn't lose to many bad fighters. He lost to Fitch, Koscheck, BJ Penn. He lost to John Hathaway. It was probably his only kind of glaring loss on his record, really, because other guys are quite well established guys and tough guys as well. But last time out, Dago Sanchez, and I've got no problem saying this, he got given that fight against Takanori Gomi. Takanori Gomi beat Dago Sanchez, and I hate saying that. I thought we were going to see an epic fight. It wasn't a great fight, but this has got fight of the night written all over it, if you ask me. Gilbert Melendez, the former Strikeforce lightweight champion, some people think he beat Benson Henderson. I think it was a very close fight. It could have went either way, but you've got to do a lot in those rounds to take it away from the champ. I gave it maybe just to Benson, but he is a stud in that lightweight division, and he's not far off another title shot if he beats Sanchez here. Now, I'm not going to pick against Dago Sanchez. I never will. But this is a tough fight. I'm not stupid enough. Gilbert Melendez is a top fighter in that division. But if Dago Sanchez can pull this win out, he puts himself straight up into that top 10, ready to go for that title again, and he's not far off. And he's problems for a lot of fighters in the lightweight division, just his sheer tenacity and he never stops. So I'm going to go Dago Sanchez by unanimous decision. I'm going for the underdog here in Sanchez. Melendez can maybe stop the fight, maybe stop him. I think he's that good to stop Sanchez. But I'm going to go with my boy Sanchez. I'm not going to go against Dago Sanchez. So Sanchez by unanimous decision. That's the fight I'm most looking forward to. Co-main event, Daniel Cormier coming off a win over Frank Mir last time out in the Fox card. Looked sloppy, didn't look good. He was the Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix champ against Roy Nelson, who's coming off a loss, a very surprising loss to Stipe Miocic at UFC 161. Now, Daniel Cormier, we know he's got really heavy hands, top wrestler. He's probably the most elite wrestler in the heavyweight division, maybe even the UFC. He's a very, very, very top class wrestler. Roy Nelson, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with very, very, very hard hands, and once he puts them on your chin, you go to sleep. But if you get him past the first round, maybe you can beat Roy Nelson fairly easily. I think Stipe Miocic showed that. Daniel Cormier is just going to be too good for Roy Nelson here. He is going to take him to the ground, and I think he's going to ground and pound him out. I think he can do it in the third round very, very easily. So I'm going to go Daniel Cormier by third round TKO. And next we have the main event, Cain Velasquez versus Junior Dos Santos, the third match in this epic fight trilogy that they've got. First time out, Junior Dos Santos knocked out Cain Velasquez. Second time out, Cain Velasquez just grinded Junior Dos Santos out and won a unanimous decision and absolutely beat up Junior Dos Santos. They were both saying before the fights, Cain Velasquez had an injury, I believe. Junior Dos Santos, I think he overtrained and I think he had some personal problems with splitting up from his girlfriend or wife at the time. But this is an epic fight. I'm so pumped for this fight, it's not even funny. Velasquez is just a machine. There's probably not a better fighter, I don't think, in the UFC for everything. For his stand-up is really good. You can't go to the ground with this guy. He will take you down and he will beat you if you give him enough time to. His stamina is off the charts for a heavyweight, and he can finish fights. But the reason I am going to pick Junior Dos Santos is the fact that he beat on Junior Dos Santos for 5 rounds. And I've been watching the primetime episodes and I've had a look at the fights a few times back. He beat Dos Santos and Dos Santos still got to his feet and still came forward, never gave up, never gave in, threw shots. I just don't think it's going to happen again. It could happen, but I think Junior Dos Santos is going to catch him with something again and knock him out. Now, we all know Junior Dos Santos, great boxer, maybe the best boxer in the heavyweight division, but he's throwing in kicks. He knocked out Marquardt last time out, UFC 160. I'm just pumped for this fight. I think it's going to be good. He's going to get taken down, I believe, in this fight, but I think Junior Dos Santos is going to catch him with a shot, the same as the first fight. So I'm going to pick Junior Dos Santos by knockout in the second round. I think he's going to catch. I think it'll go into the second and Dos Santos will catch him. But this is a great card and you can't really miss this card, guys. Especially the main card. Sorry, it is shit hot, so you can't really miss it. So that's this my fight picks. If you if you think Cain Velasquez is going to win, give me a like. If you think Junior Dos Santos is going to, give me a thumbs down. Come follow me on Twitter, BigBilber7MMA. I'll be back for another video after this card for UFC Fight Night 30 in Manchester, which I'll be going to live. So I'll have that out directly after this fight finishes. So come follow me on Twitter, BigBilber7MMA, and tell me your picks. I love the feedback I get from you guys. So come and tell me who you think will win the fight and how they will win the fight, and we'll see how things go at the end up. So thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the card when it comes around next Saturday, October 19th. So peace, take care, and I will see you all soon. Thank you very much.